Welcome to our video session on preparing for your appraisal interview. Now, it's important that you remember that preparation for the interview really involves both you and your employees. Employees and employers really need to be able to understand that this is a joint process. So the employees need to take the initiative and review their own performance. Now, we want them to be able to look at the evaluation period as objectively as possible, considering what they achieved, how well they might have met those goals. Now, we also want them to be thinking about new goals as well for the next evaluation period. If it is that they can do their jobs differently, here is where the input would be a good place to be able to put. For the supervisors, you are also reviewing the performance. Now, you're reviewing the performance from your perspective as to what it is was done, and you have to complete a written appraisal. Now, we suggest that you write this appraisal before you have this conversation with your staff. Sit down and think through what it is that you would like to be able to document about this person's performance for the year. Think about those new goals and make sure to schedule a time and a place. Now, to be prepared as a supervisor, it means that you need to be able to understand what your company's policy is. Now, you must be able to understand to be able to answer questions that the employee might ask you. So you have to understand what your role is in the performance process. What are you required to do? What forms are you to fill out? What can't you do? What are your limits? What should you refer to HR? What promises and commitments can you make, and what shouldn't you make? Who reviews your actions? How do other supervisors handle the appraisal? What are average? What is excellent? All of this is something that you should need to be very familiar with. And then you need to become an expert in communicating performance expectations clearly. When it is that you say, how is something done, you need to be able to make sure that there are job descriptions that have been signed by that employee, that standards have been used when you were coaching or counseling or giving feedback, so that nothing is going to come as a surprise to the employee. We want you to have been giving frequent feedback. Now, I will take the liberty of saying that if you have not been giving feedback during the year, you are not qualified to be able to appraise. And you have to be able to have some documentation on how the person has done for the year, because there's no way that you can remember 12 months performance at a particular. For the employee, what we want you to be able to do is to review the written goals that were set at the last performance meeting. This is something that you probably would have signed. Go back and look at it. And I trust this is not the first time you're going to be looking at that. Review the performance during the rating period. Prepare a discussion agenda for areas of change or adjustments that you would like. And think about what it is that you would like to be able to do. Now, you prepare for each upcoming interview as follows. I really want you to be able to get into the habit of reviewing what the employee is there to do. So you're going to look back at that job description. You're going to go back and look at the performance objectives. You're going to check the appraisal for completeness and make sure that you have had a performance standard or objective for everything that you're going to review. Now, we want you to be able to secure all the relevant information from the employee file, seek information if any of that is missing. We want you to be able to plan the interview and see what you would like to spend the time on. Set the agenda. Where do you want to focus? Anticipate reactions and outcomes. Schedule an appropriate Now, some key points to remember is that during the interview, you really need to focus on the professional. Give objective examples of what it is you're talking about when you're providing feedback. Invite a response. Make sure that you understand how it is that they are leaving you. Listen to what it is that they have to say and create a we mentality, because it is a communication process. And that's the end of our session 2.